I am Neil Larthos. I am the next Abdullah. You are the next Neville Goddard. Your SP gets wet every single time they think of you, and your bank account makes Jeff Bezos look homeless. Okay? How A Christmas Story is the most important manifestation movie of all time. So I was obviously doing what most loyal Americans do on the holidays. And I watched A Christmas Story, right? One of my all-time favorites. And a lot of us, when we see that movie, we think of it as just a fun family film to watch around Christmas time about a kid who wants to buy basically the iPhone of his generation, which is a toy BB gun, right? He's a young kid in elementary school, has to do spelling tests, and he only has one teacher, right? So he's a youngster, right? And back then, having BB guns was, a big no-no, a big taboo, right? But now we have all these other kids having AKs in their locker room like no tomorrow, okay? But that's besides the point. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about why the movie is a perfect blueprint. You can literally watch this movie and do exactly what Ralphie did in the exact way that he did it, and you will get your manifestation to come true. Even though technically when you imagine it, it's already true, right? But you get you get what I'm fucking saying. So what does he do? Okay, when he wants to get this BB gun, right? Well, first of all, he is the best visualizer I think I have ever witnessed in modern day cinema. This guy doesn't just, for one, he has his narration, his inner dialogue is an older version of him, right? And it's supposed to be, him looking back at his past, right? But it also serves kind of like as his conscious, right? Kind of like as the father, right? And whenever he is thinking of a better outcome, whenever he's in a bad scenario, he always thinks of the better outcome. Okay, for one, when he was thinking about what was it? Okay, when he got in trouble with his dad, when he was helping him change the tire, and then he accidentally smacks the fuck out of the nuts and bolts out of the tire rim, and he says fuck, right? Except it was fudge, right? So they censored it. I'm telling you, the taboos in this movie is fucking crazy. He says fuck, and then his dad, the fucking tattletale, is like, do you know what our son just said? He's like, come here. And then his mom's like, no. And so, of course, he has soap in his mouth, and he fucking tells on his friend or whoever it was who he heard it from. And he goes to sleep crying because he had soap in his mouth. Now, let me tell you one thing. When I, as a side note, when I was watching this scene, I was like, well, hold the fuck on, dude. If that's all your punishment that you had to deal with, bro. My mom used to fucking, I'm talking like I felt like I was about to get crucified with all the lashings I got. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But I would have taken a soap any day. Whatever, bro. I almost always used to eat soap, for fun, right? When I was growing up. But he goes to bed crying. And when I used to see this, I was like, damn, dude, I can relate to that. And I feel bad, and man, it sucks whenever you get punished. But what the fuck does he do when he's there crying? Instead of just crying and pitying himself, he imagines something better. He imagines that he was blind with sunglasses, but the reason why he did it was not because he actually wanted to not see, right? It's not that he wanted to actually be blind, but he imagined a scenario where he was basically in need, and his parents felt sorry, and they had to deal with the consequences for all the soap poisoning that they gave him, and that was what apparently caused his blindness, right? And looking back, I'm like, damn, this motherfucker Ralphie is a narcissistic asshole, right? I mean, I would have just fucking thought that, I would have just imagined that my parents were like, I will never do this again. I'm so sorry. You know, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You know, go snort cocaine and get hookers, right? That would have been my imaginal act, right? But he had to go fucking berserk and actually, make them fucking regret the decision, so much so that he was willing to give up his fucking eyesight. This guy is fucking crazy, right? But the point is, he exaggerated the fuck out of his imaginal acts, right? And then another imaginal act that he had was when he was turning in his paper, okay, where they had an essay about what they want for Christmas, and he turns in his paper, and it's about how he's telling his teacher that he wants a Red Ryder BB gun. And I can't remember if he turns in the paper first and then he starts visualizing, but all I know is that he's turning the paper in and he starts imagining that when he you see, I'm already fucking laughing. He starts imagining that when he's turning in the paper, that it's not, he doesn't just imagine that his teacher's like, oh, okay, that's cool that you want a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. My son wants one too. No, he imagines that his teacher is so fucking amazed of what he wants for Christmas that her tits get fucking hard. She comes her fucking pants, and then she starts writing A+, 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 and she starts reading it like if it was fucking Shakespearean God level creativity, right? Again, what have I always talked about on this channel? Self-pedestalization. He was looking at himself like the way we all should look at ourselves, like God, like source, because whatever God writes, it's Bible, right? It's sacred, it's ancient, it's pure. And he was so in love with himself that he felt like he deserved for his teacher to not only approve of what he wanted for Christmas, but to literally cum her fucking panties while reading it, when it was not even there was no beginning, middle, and end to the story. It was just what he fucking wanted for Christmas. It's like if you turn in if someone tells you, what do you want for Christmas? And you're like, I want an iPhone, whatever the fuck what are we, 25? I want an iPhone 18. Okay. And they're like, oh, fuck, yes, dude, I cannot believe you. That's what he was expecting. Okay, full head-on orgasm, right? And then what ended up happening? What ended up fucking happening? After going to the mall, and even Santa pushes him down the slide and says, you want a Red Ryder BB gun? You'll shoot your eye out, kid. And then boom, he goes home and he's just, full of misery, right? But then Christmas Day comes, and at the last second, he sees a Red Ryder BB gun right under the fucking Christmas tree. And we all know that it was most likely his dad who bought it, but I don't even know if his dad knew about it. I don't think that he told his dad. I know he told his mom. Maybe his mom told his father. But the point is, he never actually thought about having a one-on-one with his dad, right? And saying, hey, look, Pops, you were a kid once. You were a boy once. Come on, cut me some slack here. Get me a Red Ryder BB gun, right? He never thought of that. He thought of it as in terms of what he should ask Santa for Christmas, right? Little did he know that there were so many different ways that he could get his manifestation. This is why I say that when you have this visualization of, yeah, but me and my SP have to get married in Spain. It just has to happen like that. Do you want the relationship or do you want fucking Spain? Okay? Because if you guys are not going to fucking live there for the rest of your fucking lives, what the fuck does it matter? Okay? All these people who are like, oh my gosh, but the curtains are not the correct temperature of blue. Oh my gosh, this is not going to work out. Oh my gosh, it's raining. Oh fuck, we got to cancel the wedding. Fuck you, dude. I'll fucking get a wedding naked. Okay? We're gonna get wet in the night either ways. All right? What the fuck is the problem? Okay, if we have to get married in the courthouse, who gives a shit? If it was up to me, bro, that's the way we would do it. Drive-through marriage. Yeah, can I get just one marriage contract, please? Thank you. Yes, and the fucking large fries. Do I have to repeat myself? That's the way if it was up to me, okay? Fuck all the shit about Spain, all right? He didn't even realize that his dad could have fucking bought it for him, right? But why did he get it? Because no matter what the 3D showed him, whether it was that his mom was, saying that, no, you'll shoot your eye out, right? No matter if his mom, had to take him home after a fight with against a bully, which, by the way, I'm going to add something about that, too, when he beat up Butt Farkas or Butt Dumbass, whatever the hell his name was. But despite the 3D circumstances, he would always go in his imagination. Now, look, did he actually get blinded? Did his parents feel remorseful for punishing him with the soap bar? No. But what ended up happening after that imaginal act? Well, when he got caught by his mom beating up on a kid after school, his mom ended up not being such a tattletale, and she basically had his back. And even though she told his father that Ralphie got in a fight, she dumbed it down a bit. She what the fuck is the phrase that I'm thinking about? She didn't make a big deal about it, right? She just made it sound like it was no big deal. And she even tried to distract him, like, oh, well, I see Green Bay is playing Chicago this week. And he's like, oh, yeah. Like, she was very, mature about it. She didn't just hide it, but at the same time, she, rubs at Ralphie's shoulder and is basically telling him, like, look, I got you, son. And he says, after that, me and my mother's relationship was 10 times better after that, or something like that, right? Why did that happen? Because he simply went in his imagination after his mom put the soap bar in his mouth, and he imagined that his family was basically treating him like a king. And now he had that reflected when his mom basically stood up for him and had his back after he was afraid that he was going to be grounded for life, right? And the Red Ryder BB gun, even though after he had the imaginal act of his teacher having an orgasm reading about how he wanted a Red Ryder BB gun, and not to mention the night before he also had an imaginal act where he was actually with Red Ryder and shooting all the guys. Or no, actually that was after, never mind. But either ways, even after he had that imaginal act of his teacher, going crazy when she read his essay, he still went to the fucking mall, and Santa basically gave him the red light and said, no, I'm sorry, son, you're a dumbass, okay? This is what's wrong with you? You're going to turn into a Trump supporter, right? And then he kicked him down the slide. Yet, even with all those 3D circumstances, Ralphie still ended up getting the Red Ryder BB gun. Why? Because he put himself first, okay? It was such a strong imaginal act that it impressed the subconscious, okay? Now, how can you do this in your life? Okay? It's simple. Kill the Batman. No, it's not that simple. But it's simple, guys. Whenever you are in your 3D circumstances, okay? No matter if Santa kicks you down the slide, no matter if your SP has you blocked on all platforms, okay? You can either have an imaginal act like Ralphie and go extreme, which is, in my opinion, I prefer to have them more realistic, because I just like the feeling of actually being in first person and, experiencing what I want to experience. For me, I don't need to be worshipped per se. I don't need to. The way that Ralphie visualized in the movie is how I have my self-pedestalizations. That's how I do my affirmations. I will say stuff like, when my teacher reads my essay that I want a Red Ryder BB gun, she's going to just fucking cum her pants. I would have said that if I was him, right? But he actually had the imaginal act, right? But for imaginal acts, you can either do exactly what Ralphie did and just make it so exaggerated that it will impress the subconscious, or you can simply have a more realistic one where if you desire marriage with your SP or you desire a long-term relationship, you can either be in the car, you can either be on a date, you can be at your favorite pizza spot. I would choose a spot that is so fucking second nature to you that automatically when you tell yourself, I am at Joe's Pizza, sitting at the first booth, you know how the booth feels, you know what type of music is playing all the fucking time. You're like, oh my gosh, they're playing Arctic Monkeys again, holy shit. I never even liked them, but now I cannot stop listening to them. You remember which fucking waiter is always there every single Thursday, right? Don't say, well, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna see how manifestation works, I'm gonna imagine that we're at the GameStop even though I've never fucking bought a console to save my life. No, don't make it any more difficult, guys, okay? If you know that Junior SP would be there and it's a place that you go all the time, why not fucking make it more easier? The more you can impress the subconscious, the better, right? I've said it before, you don't have to make your visualizations in IMAX, but the more vivid they are, the more it is easier to impress the subconscious without other factors, okay? Make it a 5-second clip. If you make it any more than 5 seconds, you run a extreme risk of getting distracted, because most human beings, scientifically proven, cannot stay focused on anything more than 10 seconds because they are dumbasses and they are TikTok brains, okay? But I digress. So make it as short as possible, get to the fucking point. But the key is make it in first person, because if you make it in third person, you risk catching your SP with somebody else. Because even if you imagine that you are looking at you and your SP sitting in the car making out, and yet apparently you're getting like the view of how it would look like if you were outside of the fucking windshield, guess what? You're gonna fucking go up one of these days to the drive-in, you're gonna have the popcorn ready, and you're like, hey babe, I don't know if you wanted butter. And then you catch her making out with her fucking ex. And then you go home crying. Then you probably get in a car accident. But then you turn into Doctor Strange, and then you end up just being single for the rest of your life. But the point is that, yes, there have been people who have fucking manifested with third person perspective. But that is only for the advanced motherfuckers like me, okay? I can do it from fucking planet Mars with the fucking microscope, okay? But again, I like to actually, I don't just use my visualizations for manifestations. I use them because I know that whatever I see in here, it's already happened. So if I want to make out with my teacher from first grade, because back in that day I didn't even hit puberty, guess what? I can do it right now. Because I remember that she would never wear a fucking bra whenever we were in first grade. That she's the whole fucking reason why I had to fucking do tutorials that summer, okay? And I didn't even know how to spell the fucking word everything, okay? Because she was my everything. All right, but either ways, I digress, guys, okay? Fuck you, Mr. Rowe. But either ways, that's actually your real fucking name too. Holy shit. But either ways, guys, the point is 5 seconds, make it in first person, okay? And make sure that it is in the end. Don't try to manifest a text message. Don't try to manifest her finally saying yes to you getting her number, and then you jump up and down and click your heels. No, if you have to go fucking extreme, imagine that both of you guys are in the rocking chair and you guys are still in good condition, and she's like, I want you to break my back like you broke my chair last night, or something like that, right? Just anything, okay? But the point is, be in the end, okay? Now, not only did Ralphie become a manifesting visualization god, right? And not only can you learn from the way that whenever he was in a negative outcome, he immediately went to his end right here. But there's another thing that a lot of manifestation coaches don't talk about. And I think this is one of my favorite parts of the bridge of events. And really just in general, with state changes. In the scene where he is tired of everything, he's tired of everybody not supportive of him wanting a Red Ryder BB gun because he wants to be a serial killer. He is tired of just everything be going fucking wrong. And even, going into the bathroom and making his brother wait 2 hours just to pee or to take a shit, and he's doing the whole thing, and then all of a sudden it's just a fucking crummy commercial. He's like, son of a fucking bitch, what a fucking dick, right? Everything was going wrong for him. And it got to the point where he's like, you know what, fuck this shit. He bumps into the bully, and just like every single day, the bully is basically not letting him pass because he's like the cartel of the neighborhood. And something just lit a fucking fuse in him, and he just goes on the fucking bully and just lays it on him, bro. Right? To the point where he beats the living shit on him. Fucking Islam Makhachev, fucking Khabib Nurmagomedov style, right? Hits him with the fucking triangle choke. He makes him tap out 3 times. No referee, by the way. No referee. No Nevada State Commission rules. Nothing, bro. He literally gives him like 5 TKOs. All his KOs in his UFC career happened against the bully, right? But why? Why was he able to go after this bully who was 2 times his size, older than him, and everybody's worst nightmare? Why? Because it got to the point where he fucking had enough, right? And sometimes in your life, when you are to the point where you've had enough, that is one of the most beautiful fucking moments you can ever experience. All these manifestation coaches who tell you that you're supposed to be love and you're supposed to be peace, and no matter what your ex did to you, you have to still forgive them and go back in time and say that they never did that to you. And even though they, cheated on you with your sister, even though you didn't even know that they were lesbian, you're like, no, but it's okay. She actually never did that. She was always in love with me. And yeah, I know that she used to be a cannibal, but actually no, she just always liked to eat Oreos. I don't know. No, fuck this bullshit. If you're angry at your ex, embrace it. I'm not saying go over there and fucking beat the shit out of her. Of course not. I'm not saying do anything illegal. I'm not saying do anything hateful to her, but you can't just hide how you feel. All these manifestation coaches who are saying that you have to be all love and peace, that's not true. That's not true. Because I have been the most successful in my life when I was at my peak of anger. All right? You know how fucking good it feels to finally tell the bully to back the fuck off and to never fucking talk to me like that again? I remember when me and my ex broke up, and even though I wasn't extremely the most innocent, there was things that she did, and looking back at it, I was like, you know what? I fucking let her walk all over me. I was a little bitch. And I still blame myself both for things that I did to her and also just for being a fucking pussy. But at the end of the day, there was a part of me that still felt like, you know what? But, I've met other girls who let some of those things slide. But with her, everything had to be perfect, right? And it got to the point where even though I became a player after that, and even though there was a lot of resentment and a lot of red pill rage, right? I noticed I had the most success with women when I just stopped giving a fuck and I started being no more Mr. Nice Guy, right? And it wasn't that I was actually treating girls like shit. I wasn't abusive. I wasn't hurtful. I wasn't cheating on them. But there was just simply a part of me that I was no longer trying to gain their approval, right? And this wasn't even me looking up on ehow.com of how to not be needy, how not to be clingy. I automatically shifted to the state of non-clinginess by not giving a fuckness. Because you want to know one of the easiest ways to not give a fuck is when you've already had enough and you're like, you know what, fuck this shit. I've had people say that they love how I look when I've had women say that they love how I look when I'm fucking angry. There's a girl who I work with, and if you're watching this, you know who the fuck you are, you little slut. She always tells me, I want to see your angry face. I know why the fuck you want to see my angry face, you little fucking whore. Okay? Dude, I'm going to get demonetized. But I don't care, because again, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuckness. Manifest whatever you want, okay? But you have to get to that point sometimes. I'm not saying that if everything's going great, that all of a sudden you have to find something to be angry about. No, if you're not angry about something, give glory to God, right? Be thankful. But if there's trauma from your, past relationships, even some childhood trauma, a lot of you guys have issues with your dad. A lot of these manifestation coaches say, but that's your family. You got to be peace and love, because how can you manifest love if you don't love these people who are treating you like shit? Forget what they did to you. Just revise it. You can still revise, but you can still say, fuck you. Fuck you. If you truly feel like that's what you got to do, then fucking do it. And I will tell you this, it's definitely not going to hurt you to try. It's definitely not going to be a for sure permanent damaging of your manifestation, because I've actually noticed that my manifestations come quicker when I just don't give a fuck. And sometimes not giving a fuck means not giving a fuck about how you act towards people, shunning them out, ghosting them. You become the fucking ghost. Okay? Manifest like Ralphie. Whenever you are dealing with the 3D, just go in your imagination. And if you have to, I will say that if you make it so fucking crazy and obnoxious, like your teacher having an orgasm when she's reading What You Want for Christmas, then you might actually find success there if you're not so picky on what you want. Because at the end of the day, all he wanted was a Red Ryder BB gun, right? And that was just another way to do it, right? If you just want your SP, you're not very picky about marriage, you're not really picky about, what type of relationship it is, you just want her, then you can just imagine that she is, every single day on your way to work, you see her doing a parade down the street with a whole fucking legion of munchkins from the Wizard of Oz, and they are holding up signs, all hail the King Neo, or whatever your name is, all hail the King Andrew, or for the ladies, all hail Queen Selena. You are the next Selena, right? Whatever, okay? Because when your subconscious sees that, obviously it knows, okay, well, we cannot do a fucking parade down the street because, that's just a one way. But it knows that what you're doing is you're putting yourself on the pedestal, because a lot of times when we've imagined our boss yelling at us, we didn't necessarily imagine it in 4K IMAX. We didn't necessarily imagine it realistically, but we imagined that our boss was about to run us over with a big fucking bulldozer and we were the size of an ant. We imagined that our parents were going to kill us and chain us to the wall and use our body as a dartboard. Yet, even though they never even fucking spanked us, maybe, they still grounded us, and it felt just as bad, if not worse, as using our body as a dartboard. So you can exaggerate, or you can do what I said, which I think is better, and do a 5-second imaginal act to avoid the TikTok brain. Do it in first person, and do it until you feel like you impress the subconscious. And I don't have to tell you what it means to impress the subconscious, because like I say a million times, just like the way that it feels when you have to take a shit, no one has to describe that feeling to you. You know what it feels like. And I think I'm gonna have to go right now. So until then, folks, if you guys have any questions, or if you have any other movies that you think you would like to share in the comments below that really are great examples of manifesting, let me know, because I don't think you can find one, because I found the best. I am Neil Lartos. This is all that the I'm Awareness had to say. And I know you're gonna be fucking okay.